Here we are, Western Twilight Market. I heard they might have that something special right here. I can't believe it. They actually have this album. Sold! Today I'm here with Grant at the West End Twilight Market, and I'd just like to know, how did you get started?
Well, about a year ago I had a whole bunch of CDs that I basically needed to get rid of to make room in the house for other things, and I took them along to a market and sold quite a few of them. But what was interesting was younger kids, people between the age of say 20 and 30 were all asking for vinyl records. So I took the money that I'd made from selling the CDs and started buying vinyl records, and I've ended up with what you see here today, as well as more at home. And I haven't really made any room at home. I've ended up with more stuff at home.
And where did you get the vinyl records from in the first place?
Well, I find some at garage sales, second-hand shops, friends that are selling stuff from their collections, and I also import stuff from America and buy some from distributors here in Australia as well. So it's a mixture of second-hand and brand new. There's blues and rock and roll from the 50s, and there's funk, and there's hip hop that's been released in the last couple of weeks, and there's heavy metal, there's all sorts. Lots of punk rock, garage rock, all sorts.
Disraeli Gears by the band Cream, released in 1967. And it was quite funny because the Americans didn't actually pay attention to the blues music culture, but they started to when the British came to America performing their own music.
Lolling up and down to hide his bobble in a hole. Oh, God, ye good den, fair gentlewoman.
Always a good day.
'Tis no less, I tell you, for the body hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon.
What man are you?
I never thought there'd be so many charming and interesting knickknacks. Handmade too. I'm talking with Beck from the West End Markets. Now, tell me about your stall.
So the store's called Melbourne Pearl, and it's a handmade collective from myself and from different girls around the world. So Canada and England and China, a few different places, and it's supposed to feel like your nana's china cabinet at home was the feel of the store.
So what made you decide to open up your stall at the markets as opposed to other community events?
I just love the markets. I love the feel of the people. I love good food. So it kind of just feels like you're in another world. You've got good people all around you, and just sounds stupid, but the vibe of markets is good. So yeah, it's really community based. It's good.
Smiling night, checkering the eastern clouds with streaks of light. Gold nickel is the powerful grace that lies in plants, herbs, stones, and their true quality. Good morning, Father.
And now I'm talking to Sally and Scott, the directors of the West End Twilight Market. And I was just wondering, how did you guys get started?
I reckon you should tell this story.
Well, how did we get started? Well, we met on a deck back in 2010, and ever since then we never looked back. And, just chance meetings. Met somebody who was involved with the space, and, before too long we thought if the banks aren't here on the weekends, we may as well put a market in here so that people can enjoy it.
We went to a lot of markets and looked at what other people were doing. We also had a few ideas for some stalls that we'd never seen probably anywhere before, and we just basically set out to find people who we thought could maybe make them come to life.
So if there's someone at home who's watching and is interested in opening up their own stall, what advice would you have for them?
Be innovative. If there's a way that you think that you can add something to the markets, I'm
here today with Estrelas from the West End Twilight Market, And I was just wondering, how did you guys get started?
I was living in Germany and I started playing maracatu there. There was a guy from Recife in the northeast of Brazil. And so then when I moved to Australia a year and a half ago, then there was nothing here. So I decided to splash out and import a whole load of instruments. So these drums that you can see here, they're called alfaias, and they're like typical in this northeast Brazilian music.
Do you have any advice for anyone that might want to form a group of their own?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if there's something in Brisbane that you want to do and it doesn't exist, then you simply make it happen.
Anything is possible. I mean, just because you have an idea to make little brooches out of insects, or you feel like you might like to do some kind of pottery stall or anything at all, like, we're interested in hearing what you've got to offer.
Yeah, I mean, the 4ZZZ Brisbane Music Stall, that was just an idea that's one of our friends had, and he put it to us, and we're like, okay, we'll support you, we'll give it a go and see how you go. And he's still here, 3 months later. And, Sally's sister started making macarons because she wanted to be a part of the market.
Macarons in Brisbane, I'll just put that out there.
Yeah, so pretty much if you want to sell anything, then we're interested.
It's still a pretty modest little event. I mean, everybody here is doing something handmade that you can't really find probably anywhere else. And but I think that mostly the thing that's grown since we started was our community support network. I mean, we just every week are so blown away by how many people really want to support the project.
Yeah, I think the community support thing's been great, because even today we were just over at Grilled having our customary lunch, in amongst all the setup, and Colin said to us, because we cancelled a couple of weeks ago with the rain, he said, I was so worried that you weren't going to be here again because you weren't on. And it's just nice to know that people on the street miss us when we're not on. So I think that's been the best part of it, really.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to know that. A lot of people have said to us that they feel like we have captured the West End spirit. And I don't know if that's true, but if it is, I'm very pleased.
Yeah, we grabbed them all, stuck them in here, and, so definitely, we've captured it.
Yeah.
And how do you hope the markets will expand in the future?
We always want to focus on the markets being an experience and an event. So in the future, what I see happening is just even more utilisation of the space we have. So people hanging from the ceilings, as you would say.
On the walls.
Yeah, a fashion show.
Sumo wrestling dinner party.
Cinema in here.
Party.
Anything like that. That's how we see it growing, yeah. And if it's, hopefully we want to capture the ideas of our stall holders, because they're what make it happen.
Yeah.
And if they want to, they really get together and collaborate and come up with new things. Like, they picked on us to do a Mario Kart tournament. So we can't take all the credit for that.
Well, thanks again for talking with us, and we'll get back to you later on.
Okay, thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Mem. So what do you think, Bronnie? Are you going to set up a stall at the West End Twilight Markets?
Yeah, I was thinking of joining an acting troupe, Campo. Maybe, a bit of Shakespeare at the Twilight Markets. How about you? You going to take Mrs. Campo along to some ballroom dancing?
Well, I just got a text and yes, we are going.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us on This Town Brisbane, and be sure to check us out on our Facebook page.
And join us next week as we visit the places, meet the people and attend the events that make This Town Brisbane.